Okay, we're going to talk about external referencing, and we're moving on to the third week. So this is week 3, and basically we're moving on to project 2, and we need to create an external reference and bring the slab from project 1 into it, and then we will draw some walls over the top of the slab. All right, so let's have a look at the process of doing that. I'll just go to, there's a couple of ways of getting into the external reference. One way is typing in XREF, and I'll just type it in here so you can see that, XREF, okay, and just press enter, and it comes up with this dialog box. Oh, it's a palette, they call it a palette, reference palette. All right, so I'll close that for now. There's another way. You can go to the Insert tab, and of course there's always confusing terminologies. Under the Insert tab you find the Insert command, but there's a whole lot of other type of Insert commands in here as well. One of them being Attach, which basically attaches an external reference. And these are the type of external references you can attach, and we've got PWF, one of NPDF, DGN. One that's not listed there, I can't see it, is actually DWG, which is what you want. I'm surprised it doesn't say DWG in the help. There you go. Okay. All right, so here we go. I click that, and it for me, because the last time I brought something in was DWG. It says DWG there for drawing file, but normally it will be on all images. So you might want to change it so it's not images, because we're not bringing an image file, we're bringing in a drawing file. I can't see it. Where's the drawing? All the way down there. Where would you put the drawing? All the way down there. Something that you want to bring in every time. Okay, so here we go. Drawing file. Now, okay, so I've got a copy of my final project that I did last time here, which is project 1. I'll bring that in, and I'll just go open. All right, here we go. So once I do that, this pops up. All right, and by the way, with that other thing where I typed in XREF before, similar idea. You go here, and there's all these different things you can bring in. The difference is you can go straight to DWG, and that already sets the file type down the bottom there. So it's DWG rather than having to do it manually. So again, once you get to here somehow, you just have to go open, and then this is the same after that, whichever way you went in. What you need to know from here is that there's 3 options here. One is full path, the other one is relative path, and the other one is no path. Full path is not actually one that we use often, and it's one that requires that, I mean, if we're externally referencing, you can imagine what it means. The file actually doesn't actually live in the drawing. So if I save this file and I give it to someone and I haven't drawn nothing in it, like not a thing, all they'll get is a blank drawing, like as you saw it just before, nothing in it. So what you need to do is actually externally, you have to send them the actual external reference file. This file called slab 10 final has to go with this particular drawing, and then they save both of them onto the hard disk, and then they'll be able to view the drawing. Okay. The other thing you can do is relative path, which means basically the directory structure is a lot more flexible. So if I've put, for example, if I've saved this file, which at the moment is not saved, okay, if I saved it somewhere, say it's in my documents, jobs folder, and under my jobs folder, I might have a job number, 01, and under that job number, I might have consultants drawings that come in and that sort of thing. So, for example, my slab might be under consultants, all right, and but my drawing is saved under job 01, okay. So I bring in the slab from the consultants. So it knows that relative to where my drawing is saved, okay, if it looks one below in a folder called consultants, it will find the slab. So if I need to archive the folder or send it off to someone else, all they need to know is that they've got to save the drawing that I attached, which is this current drawing here, which is not saved yet. They've got to save it into a folder. Then underneath that, create another folder called consultants and put the slab in there, and it will find it automatically. All right. No, it's not the end of the world if it doesn't go in that order, because you can always redefine the path afterwards. I'll show you how to do that as well. But it does make sense in a bigger sort of office to have a relative path because of the communication issues that it resolves, I suppose, but also from archiving. So you can actually, when the year is finished, you archive all your jobs. You just move them anywhere; it doesn't matter, and it will still work as long as you retain the file structure tree as is. It'll find it. All right. Now the node path is probably the better way to go for small jobs where everything's in the same folder. So and basically that's what we're doing. It's a small job, everything's the same folder. Whether you got relative path or no path, it's probably the same for us. Now the thing is, if I go here now and I go relative path, look what happens. It says, sorry, can't do that. Well, it makes sense. It needs to be saved beforehand. It can't work out where this drawing is, therefore it says, I'm not going to let you do relative path because I don't know where this drawing is going to end up, so I can't keep track of where the XREF is going to come from. How many folders below this drawing it will be, for example. So let's just get out of that and do it properly. So what we're going to do is actually save this drawing. However, because I'm using, we're still in sort of that 3D mode, I would rather just go into a 3D file. So let's start off with a 3D file, which is what I should have started off with at the beginning of this job. All right, so let's go 3D file, save it. Okay, so this is the actual procedure now. Save it. I'm just going to save it in here. I'll call it, slab 3 or whatever I'm going to call it. There it is. All right, so here's my slab 3, and I'm going to bring in something in a minute, the XREF. So let's go XREF. It does say here this is the actual drawing now that I'm in. This is the drawing we're in now. If I XREF now, and I quickly go into that final thing here, go open, we've been through all this. I'm going to select no path. All right, that's sort of, relative path or no path, it doesn't matter, it will work. Industry standard, it will be relative path. Up here, scale, okay, we're not going to change the size of it. Insertion point, yours might be like this. You've got to take the tick off. Generally, industry will work off a known point, such as 0, 0. And, okay, so that's that. And also this will be an attachment normally. All right, industry also works with overlay normally. All right. Okay. So a bit hard to understand the difference between overlay and attachment, and it's terminology issues as well. I mean, I've just went XREF and I clicked on attach, and it says to me, "Well, do you really want to attach it? In other words, do you want to do an attachment, or do you want to do an overlay attachment?" It's just confusing. But at the end of the day, they're both attachments. You're still attaching something. You're linking something into this drawing. It's just the method that you're linking it in that's different. All right, if I kept it on attachment and I brought in this slab there, okay, and I've finished, it's there, I've done a few lines or whatever, and then I save the drawing, then someone else from the office might say, well, okay, I don't mind that drawing that's got, now has the walls in it and all that sort of stuff. I could use that to maybe draw my air conditioning on it or something. All right, so they say, okay, well, I'll bring that in. I'll bring it into one of my blank drawings and I'll start drawing my air conditioning on top. All right, so if I have it on this setting here, the attachment, they will get the slab and they will get the walls as well, okay, which I've just put in, okay. Now they might not want the slab, seeing they're concentrating on air conditioning, okay. So it would be hard for them to get rid of it. I suppose the orthodox or the better way of doing it is to allow people to just assemble the drawings themselves. So if they really want the slab, they can bring it in themselves. But when you bring in this drawing here, which really all we've drawn into this drawing after we bring the slab in, all we'll be drawing, all that will exist in this drawing, if we don't have the attachment, it's just the walls, all right? So we're basically tracing over the slab just to put the walls in. So if someone wants our walls, might not necessarily want the slab as well, all right? So the nicer way of doing it, the more polite way, I suppose you might say, is to, not to have baggage going with this drawing every time and put it on overlay, which means all we're using the slab is for overlay and printing purposes for this drawing only. And if someone wants our drawing, all they will get, if we have it on overlay, is just the walls, not the slab. So this is how generally people work. So I'll go with that option as well. So that's it. 3 things to remember. This, that, there, the insertion, and either relative or no path. So go OK now. And there's our slab somewhere in there. I can close this now maybe, or I'll just keep it there for a minute. Okay, so there we go. So we've got our slab in there. So that's all we've got. Now we have to create some layers and start drawing our walls, but that'll be the next segment. If I just got a little time here, just show you around here. Let's see. If I just save this for a second, press save. Save path, it doesn't show us. Hold on. This is what I was on here. So see how the external reference looks a bit different up here? That's what I brought in. So if I go down here now, it tells me where it's saved exactly. And I've got an option here to, if the slab doesn't turn up, it'll actually give me a note in here saying I can't find the slab in this particular. It writes a bit of text over the top and tells you where it's looking for the slab and what name file is looking for. So then you can go and say, well, okay, actually I saved it somewhere else, and you can navigate and find it. But you don't want to be doing that with, say, 10 or 20 XREFs in there that you've just put in the wrong spot. So if you use the relative idea or the no path idea, it will work for you more often than not, right? Okay, so that's basically it. I think we can leave that there pretty much. If I right click here, we've got a few other options here. I've got an option here of opening the slab. So if I want to open the slab drawing to do some editing on it and then save it, it will automatically, and we'll do that a bit later. The editing will actually, once I save it, will come in here, will reflect straight into this drawing. And you can also unload, and you can reload. It's like turning on and off, all right, the slab. So it's a bit like a layer command for external referencing. If you want to get rid of it totally, it's detach. I can also bind it. So it means it can be inserted just as a normal block in here. All right, there's 2 different types of binding. We might go through that a bit later though. All right, so, and you've got a few other options here. Pathing, you can make it, remove the path. All right, so there's no path. I think I went relative to start with, or make relative. So I can't remember, depending what we had, I can't remember if I had, did I go for relative or not? I can't remember. Yeah. All right. So anyway, you can muck around with the path there as well. Okay, so that's that. I'll leave this recording and we'll continue with the walls in a second.